Today, I want to talk about one way I use a very practical method to utilize different parts of myself and how I maximize my spiritual growth through this way. As we all know, there's a saying that as above, so below. Also, the universe is within me. What does that exactly mean? Well, one of the interpretations I really appreciate is we are infinite possibilities. The concept of self is really constructed through our experiences, through our interpretations, through our rationalizations. So, in order to make big changes in our life, one fundamental change that we must make first is to redefine and recreate who we are. Does it mean that there's no such a concept as self and we can just make up who we want to be? Well, certainly not. There are different levels of ourselves. They're the desire, fear level. They're this, level of intellectual rationalization. That level. There's a level of our more animal, more raw level. There are levels of where our compassion and our artistic creativity is rooted in. There are different levels of ourselves. Some psychologists would argue that different parts of ourselves serve different purposes. While in spirituality, self is always changing. And there are two different ways to look at it. One is to be, on the autopilot mode. Let yourself to be changed by your situation, by your experience, and you just roll with it. The other way is to intentionally look at how yourself, the concept of yourself, is being constructed, is being shaped through different kind of situations and through different teachings and different practices. So when we are observing how ourself is being shaped, there's the question I always think about: who is observing what? If I am being observed, then who is observing me? It all comes back to the idea of different levels of ourselves. There's this, some people would say, the higher self, the high self, right? There's this idea of a more mature, more intellectual, more wise, more intuitive self that is watching over the rest part of ourselves. So how do I utilize different parts of ourselves to let my spiritual power, spiritual potential to grow? One thing I like to work with, one system I like to work with is the element system. So I would imagine like a pentagram, right? The 5 ray stars. There are the 4 rays is fire, earth, water, and air. And then on top is the spirit. I would put my higher self at the spot of the spirit. And then I would visualize, if I am fire, what would I look like? Would I look like an animal? Would I look like a plant? Would I look like a mythological creature? What would I look like? And I wait for the vision, the sound, the smell, the texture, the feeling come to me. Of course, that's all done in a state of meditation. And once we place our higher self at the spirit level, then our higher self would guide us into getting in connection with the different elements part of ourselves. For example, last time when I do this practice, right, in my meditation, I try to connect the fire self. What I saw is a lion with the manes as flames, golden red flames. And when I try to connect the water element, what did I see? I saw a snake resting in a pond. So there are different images come to me. And the interesting part is they don't always stay the same. And of course, if there is an image that you feel especially strongly connected with, feel free to draw it down or even make a servitor based on the image of that, or even make a sigil, a symbol, a totem out of that. It always provides a lot of protective energies, right? So do this exercise. First, draw a 5 ray stars and invite your higher self to be in the position of spirit. And ask your spirit, who am I when I am fire? Wait till the response come to you. And engage with that persona of fire. And then move on to earth, water, air. Right? Some people have an order of the 4 elements. I follow the order of the lesser banishing ritual of pentagram mostly, but it's not really necessary. Sometimes your intuition knows better than old traditions. So give it a try. I would say do this practice, right, before you do shadow work. Do this practice before or after you cast a spell. Do this practice and build this practice within some of the larger ceremony or ritual you do. The better you are connected with different parts of yourself, the more powerful you are, and the easier for you to deconstruct the old self and be intentionally to let your new self grow out of your manifestation. Well, we are the universe and we are infinite possibilities. Well, this is my message for you today, and blessed be.